I found myself at a point in my life becoming incredibly bitter and resentful towards life, towards most people, and towards myself. And this was based on the idea that I've done everything that was required of me. I followed the rules, if you will. I did what was necessary with the promise of life being a particular way, with the idea that I would attain a particular successful result and experience happiness. And when that didn't happen, when the world was not delivering on the promises that I'd imagined it would, all of a sudden we become twisted, cynical, bitter, and resentful. And we become twisted, bitter, cynical, and resentful towards others, towards the world. And then it becomes a state of being. And it was partially through reading the works of Jordan Peterson that this became illuminated in my mind, that the idea that I had that because I work hard, because I attained specific degrees or achieved certain things and followed certain rules, because this, then that, was the idea in my mind. And this was simply not true. I was basing my concept on a very faulty premise, on an idea of the world that I had built in my own mind. Sure, I'd been sold it, I'd been told it by authority figures in my particular community, and not for a foolish reason. Sometimes this type of advice makes the world work. Work hard. Study hard, get involved in a career. This is not necessarily foolish advice. The idea is that when this is the advice that you believe to be true, and this is the full extent of your paradigm or your perspective of the world, without exploring, without asking certain questions, without taking particular risks, you become disappointed. You become disappointed in the lie that was sold to you. And it was really primarily through the works of Jordan Peterson that the concept that this is not so, that in fact it was on me that I didn't explore or ask enough questions, that I didn't break out of the little box that society had built around me, that really my success or my failures or my perception of my experience of life was on me. That yes, it is important to do something worthwhile to create meaning in your life, not only because you're simply following the rules that somebody else has laid out for you, but because you've become aware of a pattern that exists in society, and making a conscious choice to participate in that pattern. Oftentimes that might mean being a little bit more obnoxious. That might mean being a little bit more disagreeable. That might mean asking uncomfortable questions of yourself and of others, and be willing to confront, be willing to have difficult discussions, be willing to experience some conflict within myself, within my own conception of the world, to experience conflict there, as well as conflict with another. Conflict is not necessarily a so-called bad or negative experience. And so I learned the hard way that sometimes life isn't the way you imagine it to be. And that doesn't mean that you need to get bitter or resentful. It simply means that you need to broaden and open your paradigm of what you imagine life is. Fiona D'Souza, The Shekinah Experience. Please go ahead and subscribe, hit like, and join this YouTube channel by subscribing now.